You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Holy moly, Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast is back again for episode 151. I don't know what that is in Roman numerals, but just imagine it. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Just imagine it.
Whatever Roman numerals you think it is, just imagine it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, works for me.
Even you.
On our way to another 150.
Which, if I did any preparation whatsoever, I would have figured it out and written it down.
Probably something very simple.
We don't play.
At least that's what I'm imagining. Something.
C is 100. What's 50?
L, maybe?
L? So
Yeah.
C-L-I? Wow, that's that
pretty easy.
Simple.
Imagine that.
Man, we've had a lot of news just within 24 hours. So
My brain's busting.
let's get to it.
I have been having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. I'm so excited. So
This is Cliff Day for sure.
it really is. I just go for it.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
All right, so last Friday, we've been in the midst of Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and a ton of news has dropped. Nothing bigger than that first teaser for Episode 9. I'm sure by now it has been ripped apart. Every frame has been overanalyzed, but it's still fresh in our minds. So I want to know,
us.
not by us. I want to know, two of the biggest Star Wars fans I know, what are you feeling today? Just mere hours after seeing it, first footage from this new film.
I will admit, I watched it a lot today.
I watched it 3 times. I've seen it 3 times.
Every time something like this happens, I feel like I'm never let down. Like I'm always hyped up for it. No matter what they show me, I'm all on board.
You're the perfect fan.
It's like it was made in a laboratory.
You just keep bringing it on.
The Imagineers just started putting parts together.
And what did I say? Oh, I said if Cliff was the only Star Wars fan I knew, I would think Star Wars fans are so easy to please.
I don't know. Yeah, there would be no internet. It would just be...
Yeah.
It'd be great.
I was at work today, and Jordan put on our messenger between the three of us, instantly, the trailer. I was like...
So I saw it before you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I had just gotten to work, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I'm
Not getting anything done
frantically
today.
hitting my, YouTube.
I told Nick last night, I was like, Nick, it's going to be tomorrow. I was like, it's coming tomorrow. And he's like, okay. So
Yeah, I knew the panel was happening today, so it was inevitable that there's no way they were going to get through that panel and not show something.
Right.
And we didn't know the name of the film until the trailer.
And it is...
The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, so what is your first... Your first reaction to that before you heard anything?
I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out of Skywalkers, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, technically,
We got
but
Kylo.
actually, yeah, that was my thought. Kylo was, I thought, because we had Anakin and his fall from grace.
Right.
We had Luke and his defiance when they try to lure him into the dark side.
Right.
So, only thing left has to be Kylo, who has already turned to the dark side, turning back.
Yeah, my first reaction was, that's a title. I mean, it was my instant reaction.
Yeah.
Then I thought, because I hate Rise. I think Rise is a weak word. Skywalker, scared me a little at first because I'm so worried of them backtracking on Rian Johnson's story,
Right.
Of her being not from the Skywalkers. So, but I'm not going to assume that they are backtracking. I'm going to assume the best,
Yeah.
that it's about Kylo or something else. And
Because, especially with Star Wars, so many times recently, things are in the trailer that never are in the movie. And they kind of tease one thing and then it's something completely different. That has happened.
I did,
But the title probably is important.
Yeah. I did think afterwards, I was like, why did we never think Skywalker would be in the title? Because this is literally the last movie that there should be any Skywalker. So I like that it's in there.
Yeah.
Except I wish it was, I was telling him before he got here, I wish it was Return. I think that's just a stronger word. This doesn't matter. I mean, this is a podcast. This is what we're going to talk about, these stupid details. But like, I wish it was Return of the Skywalker or Return of Skywalker. That would be my Return of Skywalker would be my pick.
Yeah.
I don't like Rise, but whatever, it doesn't matter. That's my personal preference.
Well, I thought the same thing at first, and then I remembered something.
Rise.
So it has been used before in Star Wars.
It's been used in Van Wilder too. But I thought that, and I got over that. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It's not, the problem is The Last Jedi was a killer title.
Well,
and I don't, and then they show us the poster. The poster is just the title and some stars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we had that great Last Jedi poster.
So it really should have been The Last Skywalker, last movie, and then Rise of the Jedi, this movie.
My real fear is
You're
because
such a troll.
I'm just going to ignore that. As three fans that really enjoyed The Last Jedi, who, let's face it, most Star Wars fans, I think it's fair to say, hated it.
That's probably important to point out. If you're newer to this podcast, we had very little bad to say about Last Jedi.
Right.
We were not on board with a loud portion of the fan base who wanted it stricken from the record.
If you search out our review of it,
and we understand,
maybe let us convince you.
We understand the criticism.
Yeah, there were things. It wasn't perfect.
No,
but it's just, to us, it wasn't sacrilegious the way it was to a lot of people.
Right,
the way Luke acted or the way things kind of changed, we're okay with that. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to be, but just for us, we thought the film was so good, it won us over. It got us over that hump of, wait, why would Luke act that way? So, our hopes for Episode 9 were sky high, thinking Rian Johnson was going to be finishing
involved.
this.
Yeah.
Hoping.
So then when JJ came back, I'm not sure where we are then.
Yeah, because that's my, and probably your fear too, is...
I've got it figured out. I mean, it's obvious.
Well, JJ coming back in and picking up, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of retconning in there.
Well, like it's been known that he did The Force Awakens. He did a photocopy of Star Wars.
Right.
And then when Colin Trevorrow was, fired or quit or whatever happened and is not a part of this last movie anymore, and they asked JJ, he said no. Yeah. Because he feels like he got lucky people liked Force Awakens in the first place, and he doesn't want to be that guy. But then
I think JJ is great to bring in a series that you're doing a reboot of, because he's very good at bringing things that and are familiar and love and sprinkling them into that movie, and it becomes, everybody loves it because it's everything I remember.
Right.
What happened though was Rian Johnson was a big contrast to that and came up with a very fresh thing.
Yeah, he's such a vibrant filmmaker.
Yeah.
Come up with these ideas and take it in that fresh direction.
Yeah. And he did not continue some of the storylines JJ left there. And that's Disney's fault for letting
they don't map it out. It blows my mind that they did not map out. Here's the arc.
Yeah.
Do what you want with that. make up your own details, but this is going to happen.
Yeah, and
Which I mean, I like and I don't like. I like that they gave him the freedom to do what he wanted, or we would never have got The Last
yeah.
Jedi.
So either that's on, that's not on Rian Johnson. That is on Kathleen Kennedy or whoever. Yeah.
Blame Disney. That's my bumper sticker. My thing is, though, I feel like we're going to get Return of the Jedi. Kylo is Darth Vader. She's Luke Skywalker. Kylo's going to, at the last second, be good again and stop, apparently, the Emperor again.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
And then you have enough for everyone.
Exactly.
you know what? I told Jordan, and you may. This may be the most controversial statement you've ever come out of my mouth. Like, you'd never believe I'm about to say this. There's only one thing that trailer needed: an Ewok.
It really did.
I would have loved me an Ewok in there.
Had they rolled out Warwick Davis on there with the holding a stick?
I mean, I think there's a
Shoot.
good chance we're going to get him in this movie.
I do too.
And I'm going to love it. Like, as much as I don't like it when I think about Return, I am hungry for it in this movie. Like, seriously.
I kind of feel like it's unfortunate it kind of happened this way because I was starting to really get amped up for Endgame. Like, it's kind of been everywhere.
Now you don't care anymore.
People have been talking about it. This trailer hit today, and I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
My life is right here in
I
this trailer.
seriously just need to get my affairs in order because this year, I just got to make it through this year. I got Game of Thrones ending, Endgame,
Yeah.
Avengers ending, then this
It's all
is
over.
it.
We can just pack it
That's
in.
it. I don't
done.
even have to make it to Christmas, just that week before or whatever this comes out.
That did seem a little bit like Disney stealing its own thunder, but
Yeah.
I'm sure before Endgame we're going to get on the big screen we're going to see this
yeah.
trailer. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That may not be a great idea. Cliff and I may just get up and go.
That's right.
Go get it.
I want to get in line for,
Right.
for the rise of Skywalker. Two, please. Yeah. So, do we want to play a little bit of it?
Yeah, play it. Do it.
Okay. Since we have that capability now,
are we reacting to it?
we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
We can talk about it all we want through here.
Turn your computer a little bit so we can see it. Or not. There we go. I can't hear it.
Back in the desert here.
Yeah. First off, we were noticing Rey, Daisy Ridley, looks amazing. Jordan said striking. She is just...
And as
She
soon as,
is Star Wars right now.
She just looks strong and just her eyes.
She's older. She looks like she's like her. I don't know. It's whether she's lost a few pounds or something.
Yeah.
Baby face.
Yeah, think of Luke in the first movie, Farm
Right,
Boy, and then walking in the black duds
Yeah.
in Jedi.
She looks.
Like,
so
she
when-
looks serious.
she pulled that lightsaber out, and immediately my words were blue or green.
Yeah.
All I wanted to know.
And then this
the
amazing.
North
This
by
is
Northwest shot here.
yeah. Kylo chasing her down.
This is episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Darth Maul coming in on the speeder.
And I'm not sure what noise I made when she jumped. I was like,
That was amazing.
Yeah.
She
My
leaps
eyes
up
bugged
there
out in
like
my
I can't wait to see it. Then the music pumping in, just great.
This is Leia's
Beautiful.
theme, is
Yeah,
it not?
beautiful.
Yeah.
So we see BB-8 and
You got Lando.
Lando, making his video game laugh. I don't know what's going on, or some war, and then
It looks like a sail barge.
okay. What's the medal or something that they show? What is that gold?
That's the medal from A New Hope. That's,
Okay.
I don't know if it's Han's
Is
or...
it chocolate?
I have to assume it is.
Ugh. And then the laugh of the Emperor, and I'm just like, what? I was a little perturbed at that. Like, if the Emperor is not dead, what was the point of anything?
Hey, if Darth Maul can survive being cut in half in Star Wars...
I'm fine as long as the Emperor has spider legs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It could easily be that he is in Kylo's head or something.
there's any number of explanations,
Right.
so I'm not going to get real bent out of shape.
There's not. It ain't gonna bother me that much if he's alive. It just I mean, it's cool that the guy's still alive to even be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's part of that retconning because Rian Johnson killed Snoke, right?
Yeah.
So we have no big bad because in The Last Jedi,
Yeah,
Kylo...
we have to have somebody for Kylo to turn against at the
exactly,
end.
because Kylo was, kind of back and forth
I
there
think it
for
should
a
be
little bit.
BB-8. BB-8 goes bad.
BB hate.
So, yeah, I mean, and I will admit, I watched the trailer a couple times, went back, watched the entire live panel. And it was fine. It had some good moments.
They're like, we can't tell you anything.
Stephen Colbert was the host, and I like Stephen. And he told a neat little story. And then they brought, different cast members out until you had your full cast out there. And then they showed the trailer. And the trailer goes off. We get a shot of the crowd. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Everybody's kind of reacting. That big laugh had just hit. And then the camera goes back up, and there's like red across the bottom of the stage, and Ian McDiarmid is standing there. And I was like, even though it was recorded, I went crazy. I was just like,
you're jumping on the mattress.
I was just bed to bed to bed in the store today. And then Jordan mentioned something about you read online where,
Yeah, I had seen. Yeah, because the crowd didn't know he was there,
Right.
obviously. So the crowd, the lights come up. He's standing there. I'm sure big applause, and he says, "Let's roll it again."
yeah.
So they
but
watched
he
it a
doesn't
second time.
say it like that. It's total Emperor voice.
Roll it again.
And yeah, so I went back and watched that. It was
I'm
great.
psyched. I'm psyched. I'm pumped for it. That was a killer trailer.
The crowd.
The first 30 seconds of that trailer is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. She looks so great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Rey.
They could not have picked a better lead for this.
They
series.
knocked it out of the park with her.
Yeah.
She is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I love that. She is just as much as Luke for me. Like I mean, she's incredible. So I can't wait to see how that plays out.
And then the scene later in hugging Princess Leia, tear comes down the cheek.
What all footage are we gonna get
The
of that?
feels,
I can't
the
wait.
feels
man.
of that. Yeah.
Well, JJ was saying in the panel, he kind of addressed that a little bit. And most of the footage my understanding that they used is from The Force Awakens. It's not from The Last Jedi.
Right.
So I don't know.
must
Maybe
just
that's
had-
why Rey is dressed more like she was in The
Right,
Force
yeah.
Awakens.
Yeah, I mean,
To
there's
kind
going
of
to
cut
be
it together.
stuff like that.
So yeah. But yeah, I mean,
I can't wait. I mean, we're lucky to whatever we get. I'm gonna be happy with. I'm a homer for this, but again, I think we're gonna. Like I said, I loved Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I liked Last Jedi more, but I really did like Force Awakens. It was just a little safe, and I feel like we're gonna. I'm okay, I guess, with the safe ending here. I'd rather that than it be totally screwed up.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they find a way to tie this film in with the other two as one, because there is quite a contrast in those first two movies.
And you can't tell me Episode 4 knew exactly where it was going
No,
when it
no,
ended.
no.
So there's some things I'm sure they had to
Didn't
work
even know
around,
where it was
but-
coming
Yeah.
from.
But again, we've said this before as we've discussed Star Wars as a whole, that it is a product. It's a commodity created by a corporation. And if an awful lot of people are boycotting and complaining and everything negative, you have to address that in some way. It's not straight art that's, I will never compromise my art for the masses. No, this is for the masses. This is supposed to appeal to as wide an audience as possible. So I as much as I don't want that to be the driving force behind it, I understand it completely.
Yeah, I mean,
The only thing is they can't, for me, they can't step over the line and say she's a Skywalker. Like,
Yeah.
if they do that, that's feeding the trolls.
right.
Now, it's fine to have it be plenty Skywalker-centric with Kylo
Sure.
and all that, and then whatever else they want to add, do anything. But as long as you keep the story that's been told, and it, play your safe ending, whatever. I was saying though, it's so funny to read the comments today.
No, it's not. It's never funny.
Oh yeah, but not a comment, but an article saying how could like Palpatine be alive, and there's like this whole thing naming all these characters from extended universe stuff of how this and that, and I'm just like you guys are dreaming if you think they took any of that into account.
I'm sorry, but this is super Star Wars nerd that you have to be to think, well, they took this from this video game and they're taking this from this cartoon and because of that, and it's like no. Not to the general masses. They know the movies. It has to come from the movies. I'm sorry. It does. So,
but yeah, the last one, like we said, it opens up the whole future by moving past this mystical family and the destiny of the bloodline and saying everyone has the power.
Right.
That opens up every possible door to anything you want to do in the future. And to walk that back would be a big mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I said in the review, Finn's line in The Last Jedi when he comes up and nails Phasma, and he's, she says, "You rebels, you scum," and he says, "Rebel scum." That just, that was the moment to me. That was one of my absolute, maybe favorite line of all Star Wars, just because it gives you so much possibility of, everybody can be involved. You don't have to be a Skywalker. You don't have to be a Jedi. Let's, continue on with that. So what we do know is there is a time lapse from Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker. We don't know how long, but obviously
we had predicted years.
Yeah.
We thought there has to be years for them to develop any sort of rebellion.
Right.
They only had the spark.
Yeah.
So it had to
But
move
all
on.
those kids from the stables got to grow up.
Right.
Exactly.
Be adults.
Right. Yeah. You can't tend to the horses forever. And JJ also said, I believe today, that the story in this movie is very much, because people were asking, with The Last Jedi, we had our heroes split up a lot. And somewhat in The Force Awakens, too. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing a bit. And in this movie, JJ said it's going to be, our main characters are going to go have an adventure together.
That's true. Most of the shots, you saw all the characters,
they
the
were all
droids.
together.
Yeah.
Like everyone was in the same shot of several
That's
times.
kind of interesting because they don't really do that in any of the other movies.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
So
Except, when you think about Return, I'm trying to think about Return. They did kind of have Lando and Chewie up in the Millennium Falcon like they do in this trailer, while the other ones are down on Endor.
Yeah, the only thing that probably could have got me just a little bit more hyped had it not been Chewbacca sitting there, but the old 9 numb.
But I think, and then we had a Death Star in the trailer.
Yeah, it's absolutely a Death Star. Or a piece of it, anyways. Yeah. And right before we hear that laugh, so I don't. Is this Endor, the far moon of Endor?
The Death Star.
That might be my favorite aspect of these latter movies is incorporating, the war that happened. Like, there's all these crashed ships, and there's all these people who grew up under the thumb of the Empire. I love the fallout of that. The real world, thinking real world wise. Like, there is stuff that would have been, in reaction to all this.
That is a very Lucas thing to do. When he came up with this world, everything looked used. Everything was, the Millennium Falcon's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. Everything looks like it, has been beat to hell over and over and over again. And that,
like it's been buried in the backyard.
Right, exactly. Waiting for Michael to come along and dig it up.
All right, I think we.
Oh, I'm so excited.
We're excited. I enjoy the anticipation, though. I'm fine looking forward to that. Like I said, I don't want this year to be over. So all this stuff will be...
And Disney needs a hit right here because Galaxy's Edge is opening. It opens in Disneyland May 31st. It opens in Walt Disney World on August 29th. So they can't, incorporate all this and not have...
I'm sure they'll be fine. This is going to make $1 bazillion, so...
All right, so what was going on Disney-wise that we got all this Disney news as well?
Well, we got some streaming news.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Islands in the stream, that is
dreams.
Yeah, before I got all hyped up about this trailer, the day before, I was all hyped up about Disney Plus, and we got a lot of information.
So is there some event going on, or did they just release like a press release?
No, yeah, this was just came out. I think it apparently just we got Star Wars happening. There's a lot going on.
They're stepping on their toes. Like, give us a couple days to digest all this, please.
Yeah, definitely.
Although I'm sure they wanted to release stuff at Star Wars Celebration, so they probably wanted to get the basics out there first.
Because, people have there's been a lot of speculation. People are starting to demand to know what there's going to be if we want to order the service, because we didn't have a date. So now at least we have a date. November 12th, Disney Plus, the streaming service, will be live.
All right. You know how tight I am with my money, so sell it to me, Cliff. What will get me to push that subscribe
Well,
button?
number one, let's not forget, Netflix is raising their price to somewhere around $13.99, $13.50, whatever. Disney Plus, $6.99 a month, or $70 for an entire year, which is only about $5.99 a month.
And I feel that is kind of the try us out, early adopter, price.
Sure.
That if they broke out at $10 or $12, $15.99 a month,
now there's
it'll
also
be a little harder.
There's also a possibility that Disney Plus may be bundled with Hulu and ESPN Plus. They're all, one company. So there's a lot of speculation about, almost like a cable package. You can get these three together. Your sports, your Disney entertainment, all the stuff they own.
Well,
and
that's interesting.
Hulu being, you can get your live television through Hulu, or, you watch network shows a day later, whatever it is, with very minimal commercials. So Disney Plus, we know, is not going to have any ads. That's a plus. Big plus of the plus. And they've announced some of the upcoming things. The big thing that's going to consist of Disney Plus, of course, is Disney and Disney Channel, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. Okay, those are going to be your five main contributors.
Are they not? Are they just folding all the Fox stuff? And they're not keeping anything Fox labeled separately as Fox brand?
I don't think they are.
To me, I would just get rid of
the name. You don't want to be associated with it anymore. Yeah,
just fold it all in.
Yeah, part of the new service and the Fox stuff, probably their biggest property is maybe The Simpsons. So this is going to be the new home of The Simpsons. 30 years of episodes. That's hard to believe. 30 years.
Well, I'm going to subscribe just to watch all The Simpsons, and I'm only going to pay for it until I watch every Simpsons.
So you get through all those. So right off the bat, day one, we know, I believe we're getting 18 of the 21 or 22 Pixar films currently. The rest, their new releases, they will come on board eventually. Star Wars, we're getting the Mandalorian television series. We also we know about the Cassian Andor from Rogue One. Diego Luna is going to reprise his role and do more of a prequel series. And
K2SO.
Alan Tudyk has been confirmed that he's going to come back as the droid. And then Marvel had some big announcements. We knew about Loki, the series. We knew there was a rumor about the Falcon and Winter Soldier having a kind of a buddy cop series with the Sebastian Stan and
I am gonna have to order this, aren't I?
You really are,
man.
No, that's not launch. That's not going to be at launch. That's like second year.
Well, I gotta get through The Simpsons.
And then also what's been titled WandaVision. So the Scarlet Witch and the Vision are going to have their own series.
Or like that
should have been called Rise of the WandaVision.
That would have been better.
But they're gonna the difference being that these are actually going to be the people from the movies in these shows.
I mean, yeah, like we get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we've had these kind of network shows before, but I don't feel they'd have these actors in it and be kind of a low budget network type show. This will be a prestige, big budget thing. It's going to be an event. Even more than like the Netflix shows. The Marvel Netflix shows are great.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine them even
They don't
being
have that star power,
They won't
though.
be that quality even. It's going to be above.
And we mentioned, or I did on the show, in a different episode, that Disney, Bob Iger pretty much came out and said, we are spending more money than Netflix has ever spent on their content. So I mean, they're really putting a lot into this. They are going after Netflix.
I was kind of stunned by, like I said, all the documentaries, the cooking shows, the travel shows. Like they're trying to be a whole cable channel. You know, we're getting every type of show.
We're getting a National Geographic program starring Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Here's my credit card.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Until we get the true crime, like murder mystery, like who murdered Goofy, but that's all we're missing.
Yeah, and like you said, we're getting there's a Marvel 616 show. There's a Disney Imagineering show that I was like, are you kidding me? This is stuff I've wanted for years.
There's the Hawkeye. There was also supposed to be
Hawkeye, yes, Jeremy Renner.
Or as I think that they should name it, Hawk Guy, like out of the comics, and that would be going for it, and they're cowards if they don't do it. But
did we even mention What If?
Yeah, What If animated series, which isn't going to be at launch, but it'll be coming in the first year.
And the first one is going to be What If Peggy Carter had became Captain America.
And I mean, that, to me, just the rumored stuff and the announced stuff is as much or more than DC has on their... that's all they have. Mm-hmm. This is, we get all this Marvel stuff and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, this has already blown DC out of the water for my money.
And I, as one who has been partaking in DC Universe, like, I think it's great. I have highly enjoyed the 2 television shows, the originals that have come out. I've watched a bunch of the movies on there. They've just incorporated a ton of their digital, like pretty much all of their digital library is now available just through that service. So, I mean, they've got some great content, but there's no comparison so far.
I was not expecting that many original shows.
No.
And they could just coast on the library they have of 75 years of this stuff.
Yeah, we haven't even talked, there's an Untitled Muppet series coming out. Thank God, bring the Muppets back. Monsters, Inc., with John Goodman and Billy Crystal coming back to reprise their roles. I've heard it's...
Forky?
Yeah, 2 Forky shorts, guys.
I'm going to need that credit card back.
As far as Star Wars goes...
Lady and the Tramp?
A live-action Lady and the Tramp, Day 1.
Oh.
There's a rumored, still in talks, about Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries.
It makes no sense. It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much, Disney. You've gone too far.
Don't forget, they've already announced they're bringing back Clone Wars.
I mean, that's more, I pay for a television package.
They're doing the Sandlot movie or something, or show, and they're doing a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I heard.
This is the rumored properties that they are rumored to be working on. 3 Men and a Baby, Don Quixote, Father of the Bride, Lady and the Tramp, Magic Camp, Noelle, The Paper Magicians, The Parent Trap, The Sandlot, Stargirl, Sword in the Stone, Timmy Failure, Togo, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Condor Man?
Not yet. Okay. Fingers crossed, guys. Condor Man.
And you're going to get, like, when it drops, you'll have a lot of the Marvel movies will be on there.
Right.
All the Iron Mans, Thor: The Dark World, and Ragnarok. A lot of stuff that was on Netflix.
Yeah, that was pulled.
Captain Marvel and Endgame will be on there at launch.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting until Christmas like we were for Netflix, it'll be on there in November.
This is...
But this isn't like paying for HBO and you get a network. This is like paying for 17 different versions of HBO.
Yeah.
Plus all the old library. Plus. Like,
yeah. We're talking about, the Disney animated vault being opened up. The shorts, the original Disney Channel series, all having all their episodes on there. It's insane.
Yeah. My only thing is I know I won't get as much out of it as...
I barely care, and I'm excited.
Right.
I can't imagine. Like, Cliff's like vibrating through the wall.
Like, there are things... Like, it's still... I wish there was more I personally wanted. Like, I'll never watch an episode of The Simpsons on there. I have nothing against The Simpsons, but I haven't watched it in 20 years.
Yeah.
I liked it in the early days, and I don't need to go back and watch them. And I will like these Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows. But I don't feel like, I'm not like, ooh, I get all these Marvel movies because I had all these Marvel movies on Netflix.
But if they were just doing new Star Wars shows, you'd probably pay for this service.
That's what I'm saying. This is a no-brainer for me. It's just for The Mandalorian.
Just bonus stuff.
So, really. Yeah, there is bonus stuff. I just wish I know that there's people out there just getting, like Cliff is getting everything he ever wanted, and I'm like, wow, then you should pay for mine.
I think, though,
because I just want 5 things.
But I think as many movies as you watch, though, I mean,
there's just so much kid stuff that I'm not going to care about.
And that's my problem with Netflix, is there's so much... I mean, Netflix is now going to be... It's going to feel like a fraction as far as what I want to watch, not total content.
Yeah.
But I barely watch movies on Netflix. I don't have time.
Right.
There's so many series. Oh, this new one started. I got to get through this one. I got to binge through this one. Like, I don't have time to even watch the movies I want to watch.
Yeah.
So... opening up the vault and getting the entire history of these, I don't know.
Yeah.
When is there going to be downtime to even watch this stuff?
I have no idea. I'm going to
have to retire.
Sleep less. Yeah. Yeah. But, if we get to the point, which I'm sure at some point they will, when they start getting into all those, 20,000 leagues under the sea.
Now we're talking. Get to break out the Kraken.
Yeah. Swiss Family Robinson, the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Oh, Apple Dumpling Gang. Oh, my gosh. I haven't seen that forever.
But those are movies my kids have never seen that I want to watch.
Your kids
with
have
them.
never seen?
It's not available.
Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
Nope.
Taking care of business.
Free the knots.
Yeah. I mean,
get them out of that vault.
Even your, the 80s Flight of the Navigator, Black Hole, stuff like that. I mean, geez.
I saw Black Hole double feature at the drive-in. It was, the first show was Sleeping Beauty and then the Black Hole, and I watched Sleeping Beauty and then I fell asleep watching Black Hole.
Black holes are big right now. We got
that's true.
Science photos.
True. Disney was doing it first.
That's marketing. Disney's great at marketing.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, I think if NASA had the budget, Disney, we'd all be living on Jupiter.
Probably so. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. What a great week!
In the middle of all this, he's going to go to Disney, to Galaxy's Edge. I just want to be
he might
in your pocket.
Yeah, he's going to turn into pure energy. He's going to leave his mortal form behind and merge with Disney.
Yeah,
this is peak Cliff.
It really is. After yesterday, it inspired me. I went home and I paid I made a payment on our vacation. I was like, well, we're definitely absolutely going now.
Oh, yeah.
Better lay down some cash. So,
the only thing that could make this better is if this was all happening with DC and not Marvel. I just want to suck some of the fun out for it.
So does this require everyone else to step their game up?
That's what I mean. Netflix, it's going to lose some of this stuff, and they are just going to have to go even further.
Disney
stock. We all benefit from this.
Yeah, Disney stock went up 10% the day after the announcement of Disney Plus, and Netflix stock went down 3%.
Well, I know a Disney stockholder.
Disney stock is at the Disney stock is at its highest point right now than it has ever been.
He's probably sniffing that thing. He's just, that's right.
So yeah,
like you said, there's no bad news here. I want to what are they doing wrong? And it's they're giving consumers what they want at a good value, and they're pushing forward innovation and competition.
It's even cheaper if you buy it as a yearly thing. Yeah, I mean, you're getting it for like $5 something a month.
And if they can add in, like you said, the network stuff for sports, then they're giving Suddenlink and all these other places a run for their money.
Yeah.
Like, people are already cutting the cord at a pretty high rate. Like, what do you need these for?
Yeah,
so they're going to have to innovate and get with the program.
That's an interesting dynamic, because just in the theme park world, Comcast owns Universal. Comcast owns Universal Parks, who's getting ready to build another park, Fantastic Worlds, featuring all the Nintendo stuff.
That's what this is all about.
It really comes down to theme parks.
It all began with a mouse.
So
that's our true crime show, the murder of Universal Studios. How we left it bloodied.
All right.
I had to get that out. Moving on.
Save Martha! Puny God.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm Batman.
Kneel before Zod! On the roof!
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So what's it gonna be, huh? Long sullen silence? Or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
On top of all this goodness at the end of the week, I started my week off with Shazam.
Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. Well, I want to throw real quick. I don't want to end negatively, so I'm going to throw in. This will lead to Shazam. There's a little more info about Zack Snyder. The thing we talked about last time, where he talked about Batman killing people and we were living in a dream world, I figured out that was a screening of Watchmen, that there was a Q&A afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So his comment, once you've seen this movie, how are you going to go back to an innocent, fun-loving Batman? So that puts it a little more into context. I still think he's wrong.
Yeah, what?
So there was a screening of the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman, not the Snyder cut of Justice League that is favorable. So there was a Q&A after this fairly recently, and we got a little more his thought process, where if he hadn't left Justice League, where his plot line was going. He called it a vocal minority, quote, of viewers hadn't liked Batman vs. Superman, which caused Warner Brothers to change direction. So Snyder was
minority.
Yeah, so Snyder was gung-ho. Like, he was in charge. He could do what he wanted. And the reaction to Batman vs. Superman made Warner say, well, maybe you shouldn't have carte blanche to do whatever you want. So he said they already had the script for Justice League done. You know, because Justice League came out pretty soon after.
Right.
So they had the quote-unquote nightmare sequence with a K.
Yeah.
The Batman as like some weird future of the Superman army. Yep. That was supposed to be a vision of the future, not a dream. And they would eventually get to where Darkseid had basically taken over the universe and used the anti-life equation on Superman and turned him into like his greatest warrior. So Superman was going to turn evil.
Oh, great. Bad Superman.
Yeah.
He was going to kill Lois Lane.
So awesome.
And then Flash and Cyborg, some deal, they were going to try to send Flash back in time to save Lois and fix the universe. And that is where Flash pops up in a cameo saying, I'm not in the right timeline. So, yeah, it was all heading toward this dystopian future where Darkseid
When did he
won.
pop up and say that?
Which movie was that? Was that Batman vs.
That was
Superman?
Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, sitting in the Batcave, we see Flash kind of come through the wormhole. So, again, it's all what ifs, and he said this was all written, the script for Justice League was written to get us there, but nothing was shot. So this fabled Snyder cut everyone wants of what should have happened in Justice League, pretty much confirm it doesn't exist. There's no, this footage is not out there, it was just a script. But I read some comment on this article that really sunk into me saying Snyder just wanted to do the cool stuff. He didn't lay the groundwork for any of this. So let's have Superman, kick everybody's butt. Let's have Superman die. Let's have Superman turn evil. Like, when did we see Superman being Superman?
Right.
He never saved a kitten from a tree. Like, we didn't get the baseline for who these characters are. We just got the cool stuff that happens later. And it's like he skipped all the important stuff to get to...
That is that guy. That is who he is.
It is the highlight reel of all this stuff.
Well, it's funny because after we had watched those comments in that episode, and I had that fresh in my head when I went and watched Shazam. And because my thought was, they take a shot at him in Shazam.
Yeah.
That is obvious. And I thought, oh my gosh, he saw Shazam before he made those comments. And that's what riled him all up.
I put a burr up his saddle.
That was my thought, but apparently not then.
All right, so Seth has not seen Shazam yet. Cliff, you said you saw it twice?
Saw it twice.
Wow, I saw it. We're going to spoil... We'll be a little light on spoilers. We won't maybe give away the very
whole
ending,
thing.
but we're going to tell you some Easter eggs and stuff. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're very spoiler phobic, you might tune out now. Thanks for listening. But we're going to dive into what we thought about Shazam. Cliff, I know you adored this movie,
Yeah,
right?
I liked it very, very much. What had happened was Thursday, opening night, I was off work that day, I do believe, and I had done I had a really busy day. We ended up over at our friend's house. They invited us over we went out to dinner, and then we went over to their house for a little bit. Russ that's been on the show once before. But anyways, so we get home, and I'm like, just dying to see this movie. And so I told my son, he's 18, I said...
Son, you're 18.
Yeah. It's okay, we can go see Shazam now.
Hey, I did hear that there's... I've listened to a few things, and people are putting out a warning saying, hey, this is not the kiddie movie they're showing trailers of.
This was our experience. So we went to the 10 o'clock show. Just him and I. I made a mistake. I was so hyped up to see this movie.
How have you survived this week?
Wait. But see, I forgot because it was late at night. My daughter's only 11, almost 12. And I wasn't thinking, and I knew she wanted to go. She told me she had wanted to go see this movie. But it was 10 o'clock, so I was just like, Cooper, I was like, come on, let's go watch this movie. He's like, oh, okay. So him and I go and leave her behind because it's like bedtime.
Carly Goody.
So we go, and afterwards we had a conversation, him and I was like, I don't know if I can take her to see this. Like, I mean, it had a few moments.
I had a friend say he covered his daughter's eyes.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of language, but it's nothing real bad.
Yeah.
They have some of that in the Marvel movies, but there's some brutal scenes.
There's one in particular.
Yeah.
So I had to I had to think about it a little bit, but...
And the stuff with his mom is so dark.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
It's not these... how many orphans have been in movies?
Yeah.
And it's always sort of, oh, I'm a good kid, just looking for my mom. And it's like, I was like, they can't be doing this direction, can they? Yep, it's just dark.
So for anybody that isn't familiar with Captain Marvel, he goes way back. I don't even know when he debuted in Fawcett Comics.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Segue. Wiz Comics
That's
number
not how that
2.
works. That's totally...
No, you have to say something.
You did it, then you upped your fist and said segue. None of that.
No, segues are only official if you point them out.
Okay.
Wiz Comics number 2 in 1939. There was no Wiz Comics number 1 because that's how comics worked back in the day. Nobody cared. Co-created by Bill Parker and C.C. Beck.
Not that mother scratcher.
So
Sorry, Raising Arizona. Come on, we just talked about that. Go on.
So this was, it said Fawcett Comics.
Yeah.
So get this. Freddie Freeman, the kid sidekick, first appeared in 1941, Wiz Comics 25.
Okay.
Mary appeared in 1942 as Billy's long-lost twin sister. The idea of a female superhero counterpart predates Supergirl by 16 years.
Yeah, this was pretty progressive.
Dr. Savannah, the bald-headed mad scientist type, predated Lex Luthor by several months. And he was comics' first superhero to get his own movie in the 1941 Republic serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel. So this character broke ground from the beginning.
And this character, at that time, was more popular than Superman.
So Superman debuted first in 1938, so he obviously came second, but this was a whole new concept. A boy who turns into a superhero, completely different, and it was so popular, yes, outsold Superman. So what happens? It's comics. Everybody, it has a dark history of everyone getting screwed over. National periodical publications, who later became DC, sued Fawcett, claiming Captain Marvel and his friends were ripoffs. Although, strangely enough, DC didn't mention that they created their own teenage version, Superboy in 1948, and a blood relative female hero, Supergirl, in 1958. So, who was ripping off who, really? They created the Superman family well after there was the Captain Marvel family.
Yeah.
So, the lawsuit drug on. 1954, Fawcett agreed to cease publication of all Shazam-related publications, and DC didn't bring the character back until 1972.
So basically, he who has more money wins.
So yeah, I imagine an alternate universe where Captain Marvel takes the popularity it had and builds a whole universe around it.
Right.
DC kind of wanes and it becomes those weird public domain here, with like the Green Llama and all these weird, 1940s comics that never went anywhere. That was a real possibility.
Yeah.
But he said, who has the money, who has the lawyers, that's who wins the day. So by the 70s, Marvel had taken the copyright and created their version of Captain Marvel. So DC couldn't call the book Captain Marvel, so they titled it Shazam for the next 30 years. And on all the merchandise, they only used Shazam, even though in the books they still called him Captain Marvel. Right. Just the logo and the merchandising was all Shazam until 2011. The character was officially changed to just Shazam. So he's no longer Captain Marvel.
The 1970s television show was Shazam. And which you can now watch. It's been remastered and restored on the DC Universe app. And let me tell you, oh boy. I tried to watch the first episode and I was like, why is Captain Marvel driving around in a van with some old man? It was weird. Like, I remember I had seen it at a very young age in reruns, but I was like, I don't remember it being this awful. So,
well, watch it now before you cancel all that and subscribe to Disney.
No doubt. So, anyways, that's a little history about Shazam or Captain Marvel, what have you.
But yeah, this 2011 series, was it the New 52? I think this basically laid the groundwork for this story. The being a foster kid, the wizard was there from the beginning, but basically the movie is the modern continuity. I think they were shaping up. They knew this movie was probably on the horizon, so pretty comic accurate.
Most definitely. So Billy, of course, is an orphan. He's searching for. He was separated from his mother when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and never found her. Was never reunited. Ended up in the foster system, going from house to house to house, running away, getting in trouble, that type of thing. So that establishes who Billy Batson is at this point. He's about 14, 15 years old. Now, the only thing, I was talking to Michael yesterday, last night.
Michael took his grandson to this movie.
Isn't that crazy?
His 5-year-old grandson. He told me, he said there were moments he looked over and saw his son and his grandson enjoying it, and just, it was an important milestone in his life.
Apparently. He made a very good point to me, though, and when we were kind of talking about it real quick, and he said he really felt that Zachary Levi, who was great and he really enjoyed, played the part, just the way he talked and stuff, a little younger than the actor playing Billy Batson.
That's interesting that I agree with Michael.
I totally did too. I was like, that you're right. That is a very good point.
That is I don't know, it's not even really a criticism, but yeah, the kid playing Billy Batson, Asher Angel, he's very mature for his age.
Yeah.
And he's street smart, and he doesn't take crap from anybody, and he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. he turns into Shazam with the wisdom of Solomon, and he's all of a sudden, whoa, what's going on, everybody? Wow, this is so cool. Like, he's a completely different character.
Yep.
I got that from the trailer too. I thought that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, individually, they're great.
So, and again, I don't want Shazam with a bunch of angst.
No.
So the orphan kid, full of loneliness and separate. I don't have a family. I'm on my own. I wouldn't want that as the hero. So it's fine that changed, but it just they're two complete. The coin flipped when he turns into Shazam.
Yeah, because traditionally, Captain Marvel, Shazam, was always called the Big Red Cheese,
right?
Because he was so campy and so innocent, which that's pretty much how Zachary Levi
and that
played him.
Does he when comic continuity was he a different? Like, did he remember his life as Billy, or were they two separate?
No,
I mean, did he have the mind of a child?
Yeah, or he was always he knew who he was. Okay. Yeah, even though he looked was at peak performance more or less when he became the superhero. Yeah, he was still that's why he was so campy and innocent. And different storylines where. A lot of times in a group setting, Justice League or whatever, he would often clash with some of the other characters. So
a great thing for DC to launch at the moment and shift some things up. I mean, even the Marvel movies like Ant-Man aren't this straightforward as comedies. Mm-hmm. And this was just joke. And it didn't bother me. My main problem, I went on Tuesday night and there were maybe 4 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
So the people in front of me didn't laugh at all. And there was one woman behind me who laughed at everything, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to be there for. But she and she would cover her mouth. Like, she was the only one laughing. So I'm sure it felt awkward.
She was self-aware.
Yeah. So I thought if this was a big crowd on opening night and everyone was laughing and cheering, it would have been a little, like the jokes may have landed a little more.
Yeah.
But it was the theater. It was just kind of watching it in my living room.
Yeah, I should elaborate too. I don't want to sound like a horrible father. I took my son on opening night.
Too late.
The next night, I took Carly. I took my daughter because she was a little heartbroken that I didn't take her the night before, but she was really tired. And she'd had volleyball that night, whatever. And so I took her. Just her and I went the next night on Friday night, but. Neither time we went to the 10 o'clock again, but the theater had like maybe a dozen people in it total. So each night.
Isn't living in a small town great?
Yeah. So, but I had just as much fun the second showing as I did the first go round. I thought, we talked about Zachary Levi. We talked about the kid that played Billy Batson. I thought Mark Strong was a good enough villain.
Former Sinestro.
Yeah.
Is now Dr. Sivana.
With a new twist, Dr. Sivana was always... I'm sorry, I hate to do this. I know Michael doesn't really listen. But Dr. Sivana, or as some people call him, Dr. Sylvania...
I would not have known we would ever mention the name Dr. Sivana on this show.
I didn't have the heart to correct him last night. But he was traditionally very, he's a mad scientist.
The light bulb guy.
Yeah.
I will burn bright with my bulbs.
Yeah. But he was always much older. That was the big contrast between him and Billy. He was this old, creepy scientist, and Billy was this young, vibrant kid. So, but
But when your dad's Lionel Luthor,
I know.
We had John Glover from Smallville show up as everyone's worst father.
I can only see him as Lionel Luthor now too. I was like, this is weird. You're Superman's dad or Lex Luthor's dad. So yeah. So, but he was fine in it. He gives a bad dad vibe off.
Yeah, and I thought he was threatening. Mm-hmm. And like I said, he played well as the world-weary, the guy who knows everything versus the innocent, new at this guy. Mm-hmm. He just was annoyed. Like, why do you not know the rules to this?
Right.
Let's just do what we're supposed to do.
So we have Dr. Sivana, who is on a quest to find once again the wizard Shazam, because he is tested by the wizard as a child to be the champion, to be, take the mantle of the hero.
That seemed like a new wrinkle.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah. So, but that was his motivation. Instead, he encounters, he takes the power from the 7 deadly sins, so right out of the comics, the 7 deadly sins, and they were pretty scary.
Yeah, although I'm not sure where magic and wizardry has its basis in Judeo-Christian belief in sin, but hey, it was the 40s.
Yeah, right. So just go with it. It pays off. So not only does Shazam have to fight Dr. Sivana in a newly powered up version, he's got the 7 deadly sins inside of him that are carrying, giving him the power and able to come out, and be scary and gargoyle looking. So.
But Shazam himself, the wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, stamina of Atlas, power of Zeus, courage of Achilles, speed of Mercury. Shazam.
Yeah.
So he has his own repertoire of powers.
Right.
I mean, did it was a good enough mix? Was there enough superhero-y stuff to mix with the comedy? Or
can we talk about Freddie Freeman for a minute?
Sure. Jack Dylan Grazer.
That kid is a star.
Was he not the kid? Was he was from It, correct?
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Yes.
I did not put that together.
Yeah, he's the one that Justin said would be a star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at him go. He's a star.
He was my favorite part of this movie.
That was Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, and Freddie Freeman is disabled.
I listened to you, Justin.
Freddie Freeman is a disabled character. That was, he's got a crutch and can't move very well. And traditionally he would say Captain Marvel Jr. or Captain Marvel to turn into Captain Marvel Jr.
Dr. Curdle.
In the same way that Captain Marvel would say Shazam to turn into, into his peak performance.
So yeah, we've had the Captain Marvel family forever. It was just Freddie and Mary. And the more recent comics have added all his brothers and sisters. So
the other foster kids.
Yeah, we knew that from the comics. I wasn't sure how far we'd get to that. I didn't know. The trailers did a good job hiding. We didn't know where all this was headed, so I thought maybe they would wait till a sequel.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
So I won't give away what happens, but I was pleasantly surprised to see how far we got to it.
Yeah. So is there any other big moments you want to talk about?
Let me get my negativity out of the way first.
Okay.
He hated this movie.
It just didn't. I am incapable of joy. Okay, let's just start there. No, but magic. Always, I'm never fans of magic characters because they can just zippity zappity zoo. There's never rules to magic. It's just, I'm able to do this, and I'm able to do that, and we'll just reverse that and do that. So they're just we don't have the ground rules to magic. So when he gets all this power, that was cool seeing him test it and all this stuff. But again, by the end of the movie, I still didn't know what is he capable of. What is the villain's plot? Can he just go back to the Rock of Eternity? Where are we? All the rules weren't clearly defined. I'll just say that. And I didn't the effects weren't great.
Like what?
Like him flying, it just didn't look like we've had a lot of movies with people flying.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, it just looked off to me.
There's a shot, and it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler.
Coming off the roof.
When he comes off the roof.
That was amazing.
That was my Wonder Woman in No Man's Land moment.
Yes,
I was like, this is everything a DC movie should be.
Yeah.
When his family is in trouble. They are in peril. And Billy, through the whole movie, he has done nothing but run, as a child would. He would run from danger. That's what you teach your children a lot of times. Get out of there, run away. And that's what he does. He's always, his entire life, only looked out for himself. So, in that moment, when he finally has to choose, is he going to try and help this new family, the foster family he has, or run away? And he runs up to the roof, and just a leap of faith off of that skyscraper, and you get that Shazam, and he's just chest out, and that lightning strikes, and I was just like, yeah, that's it right there for me.
Yeah, that was great. And him in the suit looked very padded, and like his head was like his neck was real skinny, but his shoulders were huge. Like it was hard to take seriously. Which again, the big red cheese,
right.
He's not meant to be
exactly
dark brooding Batman. He's supposed to be big and colorful, but I don't know. I never bought into. I was never like whisked away, and wasn't experiencing it. Like I wasn't drawn into this. So the whole time I'm at a distance for the just seeing how artificial it all is, and that could just be my psychological damage.
Yeah, for me it was you would say it was very DC, and it was very DC. It was everything. Not everything, but a lot of stuff a lot of the reasons I love DC they put into this movie.
And yeah, people have been raving about this movie, and I won't ever say anyone's wrong because I see the quality of it. It was very well made.
Yeah,
I said it just had some issues for me, but
yeah, this is absolutely. If you can't go into this movie expecting to see Iron Man or Captain America or anything that looks like that, it's a totally different thing.
Although I'll say my favorite scene was toward the end at the carnival and the little girl with her dad, where he gives her the stuffed tiger, and I thought that in the theater I'm thinking screw you Zack Snyder. Like right there is a hero.
Yeah,
and it was just a short little moment, and it was just him connecting because he's a kid too, and he sees the fear in her eyes, and it was that scene, that and the roof jumping were the two things that got me the most.
Yeah, they really stood out. The other little thing I want to mention real quick is what I was talking about. They took a shot at Zack Snyder. This movie is a Christmas movie. I wish it had come out during Christmas. It would have made it a little bit better, but that's where it takes place. We're in the Christmas season, and it was interesting that they chose Philadelphia and not Fawcett City. It was Fawcett Central School,
right,
but not Fawcett City. I thought that was kind of weird, but there's a scene where there's a little boy, and he has a Batman doll and a Superman doll, and he's fighting them, pitting them against each other, and as a kid would kind of.
You mean Batman v Superman?
Yes. And he looks up out of his window and he sees Shazam kind of rise up and fly through, and they make eye contact, and in that moment he drops both of those dolls. And I was like, somebody gets it.
He's like, Martha, get in here, look at this guy.
I was like, that is a direct shots fired at Zack Snyder. So great moment. I snickered. I loved that.
Yeah, I'll run out a few Easter eggs if you may have missed. Obviously, Holy Moly was his catchphrase for years and years. He worked in a few Holy Molys. He said Fawcett Central. The comic books were Fawcett Comics.
Yeah.
We got a hint of Black Adam. I saw Dwayne The Rock Johnson he gets a producer credit on this movie.
Oh, okay.
And he still has a solo movie at some point in production,
which would be a prequel, most likely, to this movie.
Because I heard, obviously Black Adam is his main counterpart.
Right. He was the previous champion.
Right. Yeah. So we got a hint that there was a previous champion. Right. So that's laying the groundwork for his origin.
Who unleashed the 7 deadly sins.
Right.
Yeah.
Taki Tawny, the anthropomorphic tiger.
Yep.
There were tigers all throughout this movie.
On Billy's backpack.
Right.
Yeah.
Hoppy, the Marvel Bunny. There was a stuffed animal on the girl's bed. There was a bunny who was part of the Marvel family. There was a good big reference.
Oh, was there ever?
Very direct. Everyone said this is like Superman meets Big.
Yeah.
And they leaned into that.
In a good way.
A couple good video game references with a Hadouken and a fatality. I don't know if this was a reference whatsoever, but the school security guard, I was like, why is his name badge right on camera? Moran.
Yeah.
And they made a joke about it, but Alan Moore, well, not Alan Moore, but the character Marvel Man, who is a very, if anyone was ripping off anyone, Marvel Man ripped off Captain Marvel in the British comic books of way back in the day. There was he was named Mike Moran, and when he said the magic word Kamota, he turned into Marvel Man, which he's only really famous because Alan Moore took over the character in the 1980s and did it as a pre-Watchmen as a deconstruction of superheroes. So I thought, are they naming a character after Miracle Man?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to assume it's an Easter egg, but who knows? And did you catch in the pawn shop scene, did you see the doll sitting on the counter?
I don't think so.
There was an Annabelle doll. Which the director, David Sandberg, he's only made this is his third feature film.
Yeah.
He made Lights Out, the horror movie, and Annabelle Creation.
Yeah. I knew that. Yeah.
So in the pawn shop, they walk in and there's that creepy Annabelle doll sitting there. I was like, that's a weird thing to put in. Okay, cool. And I realized today, Annabelle is also in Aquaman.
Really?
Because the director of Aquaman, James Wan, directed The Conjuring, which was the movie Annabelle spun out of. So there's a scene at the bottom of the ocean. They're looking at man's destruction of the ocean. There's a bunch of garbage. And in the corner, there's an Annabelle doll laying on the bottom of the ocean. It's like, I think every DC... This is the Stan Lee. Annabelle is the Stan Lee of DC now.
So yeah, I really like this movie. I laughed at all the jokes, as corny as some of them were. I thought it was being familiar with Captain Marvel, Shazam, all those characters. I pretty much knew what to expect for the most part. I know the origin, all that stuff, the basic origin story. But for the general public who doesn't, I thought this was a neat movie to present at this time because it's a different take. It's a different origin story. Always has been. That's always been an appeal to kids reading those comics. And I thought they...
Yeah, what do you connect with more? A guy who's a newspaper reporter who takes off his glasses and becomes a hero, or a kid who shouts a magic word and boom, he's the hero.
Right.
It's just intrinsically more exciting for that audience. Yeah. So
Yeah, and they did a couple neat things where we were talking about he always runs from the villain, from the danger, whatever, and he very quickly learns, say Shazam, he's back to Billy, and he fits right into the crowd. He doesn't have to put a pair of glasses on, and nobody notices him anymore. He's just a dumb kid again. So there's also, the only other thing we really didn't touch on, I think, there's a pretty big cameo at the end.
I wonder what the reaction is. Oh, you're talking about the other guy.
No, I'm talking...
The little guy or the big guy?
The big guy. We'll get to the little guy. Yeah, at the very end, there's a...
I like that. That was fun.
I did too. Yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So, yes. So the other thing, a lot of people aren't going to know.
I hope it's just weird, like people just laugh at how absurd it is.
Right.
And they don't have to know. It's just fun.
Yeah. So the post-credits scene is Mr. Mind, which in the DC universe he's a little teeny tiny caterpillar who is a supervillain.
An extra-dimensional worm who feeds on brainwaves and is capable of getting people to do his bidding. First appeared in 1943, created by Otto Bender and C.C. Beck. Also, the focal point of the first long-form serialized comic storyline, The Monster Society of Evil, stretched over 2 years in the comics. Back when comics, it was one issue or half an issue was a full story. They did the first long-form story. So,
also one of my favorite villains and one of my favorite runs, 52. Love 52. And yeah, Mr. Mind, spoilers, takes over the Skeets, Booster Golds.
Then they turn him into some like cosmic level threat. He was Mr. Mind was just the like the larval stage of some galactic being. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
But yeah, I mean, for a first movie, that's all the villains I can name from Shazam.
From Shazam,
Black Adam, Savannah, Mr. Mind, and we even got a little peek of the guys with crocodiles for heads. The Monster Men.
Yeah. In the doors, So
without feeling crowded at all, they worked in
they got it in there.
All the villains.
They probably thought this is we don't know if we're getting another shot at this. How this is going to go. I thought they knocked it out of the park. I really did. I love Wonder Woman. I really liked the Aquaman movie. I thought they did him justice, and very much that scene in Wonder Woman where she pops out in no man's land. The point in Aquaman when he comes out of that waterfall in the traditional Aquaman armor, the suit, and then when Billy jumps off that roof, man, I was just like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I don't need every movie to be like this, but I think there's room for serious dark drama. There's room for funny family comedy. The more the merrier to me, so keep it going. It would be cool to add him to the DC universe.
Yeah.
And like having him, how they would have Flash be the motor mouth, out of place kid in the Justice League. I could see Shazam being that same thing.
Yeah.
Being the one who doesn't quite fit in there.
So, yeah, that's all I got. I feel like I've got a lot off of my chest. Feeling good now.
Yeah, we didn't cover too many topics. This is going to be an easy one to write up because we didn't cover a whole lot, but we covered a lot.
Yeah. Star Wars, Disney, Shazam. Boom. Done.
So, this was episode 151. In case you do not know by now, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn app, Spotify. You can get us on Spotify now. Stream us. Our website, www.udownwithkpp.com. Find us on Facebook, Ka-Pow.
Start over.
Find us on Facebook, Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. On Twitter, at
the Ka-Pow Podcast.
There it is.
We don't edit
That's a lot
like
of plugs.
many of those lesser podcasts.
That's a lot of plugs.
We just roll with it. And we're in the movie section. If you're on Facebook, the Poobah has begun his top 100 movie countdown.
Oh yeah, well, let's say something real quick about that. I've only done 3 days so far as of this recording. My number 100 was something.
The Lobster?
The Lobster, yes, 2015. And then the next one was Spider-Verse. From last year.
He's already got them he's written them up. Yeah. He's got them so far planned out, he's forgotten what he put out there.
And then 98 was Rosemary's Baby. They're on there. You can follow it every day for 100 days. I'm going to count down my top 100.
And not just listing your favorite quote. You're showing some images that you think define the movie, so it's worth following along.
A little blurb of what I thought of it, and
he's already sick of doing it. That's already too much work.
Yeah, I did the second day. I was like, "What? I got to do this again."
You really made a commitment there.
Anyway, I'm into it. I'm finally getting it out there. So, you've heard me name probably all of them at some point on the podcast, but counting them down. So comment. Let me know what you think. I don't even care if you say this is stupid. Comment. So yeah, follow that. And I'll update you next time.
Yeah, and we'll be back shortly with more pop culture news. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
And I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Shazam.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.